The film unfolds with an eerie and unsettling scene in the dimly lit home of Mr. and Mrs. Ward, a couple deeply engrossed in a tense conversation about their daughter, Nina. Their voices are laced with concern, hinting at a troubling situation surrounding their child. As they speak, the camera pans to the staircase, where Nina descends slowly, her presence commanding attention. Her hands are smeared with fresh blood, a sight that freezes her parents in shock and horror, their faces pale with disbelief. This chilling moment sets the tone for the mysterious and gripping narrative that follows, leaving the audience to wonder about the dark secrets hidden within the Ward family. The story then shifts forward a few days, introducing Kayce, a young woman with a quiet determination in her eyes, as she approaches the Ward residence. She has been hired by Mr. and Mrs. Ward to serve as a babysitter for Nina, a job that seems straightforward but carries an undercurrent of unease. When Kayce arrives at the isolated house, Mrs. Ward greets her at the door, her demeanor polite but tinged with urgency. She quickly ushers Kayce inside, offering a brief tour of their modest home. The house feels cold and unwelcoming, its sparse furnishings and locked doors adding to the sense of isolation. Mrs. Ward explains that Nina lives alone here due to a peculiar illness that forces her parents to keep their distance. She reveals that Nina suffers from violent nightmares that cause her to lose control, often requiring her room to be locked for safety. This revelation unsettles Kayce, but she nods, accepting the responsibility of caring for the girl. Mrs. Ward calls Nina downstairs, and Kayce is surprised to see a young woman around her own age, not the child she had expected. Nina, pale and reserved, questions why someone her age was hired to babysit her. Mrs. Ward explains that Kayce was the only one willing to take on the job, her tone suggesting a scarcity of options. With a hurried farewell, Mrs. Ward leaves, leaving Kayce and Nina alone in the house. The air feels heavy with unspoken truths, and Kayce senses that her role here will be far more complex than she anticipated. That night, as the house settles into an eerie silence, Kayce is jolted awake by blood-curdling screams emanating from Nina's room. Her heart racing, she rushes to investigate, but the hallway is empty, and the sounds fade into the darkness. Unnerved, Kayce steps outside, hoping to find answers, but the night yields nothing. She dials her friend Jeremy, her voice trembling as she describes the unsettling noises, but she quickly dismisses them as her imagination and hangs up. The incident leaves her rattled, questioning what she's gotten herself into. The next morning, Nina descends the stairs, her demeanor calm but guarded. Kayce, still shaken, asks about the screams. Nina's response is matter-of-fact yet chilling. Her nightmares are so intense that she ties herself to her bed to prevent harming herself or others. She mentions that her brother Mika will visit later to take her shopping for supplies, a rare outing for the isolated girl. When Mika arrives, his charm is immediate, and he's visibly taken with Kayce, complimenting her beauty with a disarming smile. Nina prepares to leave with him, but Kayce notices something odd. Nina is dressed in heavy winter-like clothing despite the sweltering heat, her body completely covered. Though puzzled, Kayce brushes it off and begins cleaning the house, determined to make herself useful. While tidying Nina's room, Kayce discovers a large, jagged hole in the wall, as if punched in a fit of rage. The discovery sends a shiver down her spine, and she assumes Nina is responsible. She patches the hole, her mind racing with questions about Nina's condition. When Nina and Mika return, Nina presents Kayce with a small, intricately designed cube as a gift, a gesture that feels both kind and oddly significant. The two girls head inside, and the day passes uneventfully until night falls again. That night, the screams return, louder and more desperate. Kayce races to Nina's room, where she finds Nina tied to her bed, writhing in agony. The sight is horrifying and Kayce instinctively wants to help, but Nina's eyes are wild as she begs Kayce to leave immediately. Fearful, Kayce retreats outside, hiding when she senses someone approaching. The night air is thick with tension, and Kayce's heart pounds as she waits in the shadows, unsure of what she's witnessed. The next morning, Nina wakes to find herself still bound, a fresh wound on her stomach that she inflicted during her nightmare. She cleans herself up and joins Kayce downstairs, where breakfast is waiting. Nina, her voice low, asks if Kayce called the police about the previous night. Kayce reassures her, saying she understands Nina's struggles and won't abandon her. She's committed to helping Nina through her mysterious condition, earning a flicker of trust in Nina's guarded eyes. Observing that Nina avoids sunlight, Kayce takes initiative, hanging thick curtains and sheets over the windows to block out the rays. This allows Nina to move freely around the house without discomfort, and she's visibly grateful for Kaise's thoughtfulness. The two begin to bond, sitting together and sharing stories. Kaisi opens up about her friend Jeremy, who suffered from a similar condition but tragically didn't survive. The conversation deepens their connection, and Nina starts to see Kaisi as an ally in her lonely world. That night, Nina makes a bold decision not to tie herself up, trusting that she can sleep without incident. Meanwhile, Kaisi, restless in her room, notices a bookshelf that seems out of place. Curiosity leads her to discover a secret door hidden behind it, and inside she finds an old, weathered book. As she flips through its pages, she realizes it belonged to Jeremy, her lost friend. The book reveals a shocking truth. Jeremy was a vampire, sustained by drinking blood, and his death was no accident. Overwhelmed by grief and anger, Kaisi falls asleep, clutching the book, her resolve hardening. The next morning, Nina's father and brother arrive, their presence imposing. They rip down the curtains Kaisi hung, insisting that sunlight is beneficial for Nina. Mr. Ward sternly tells Kaisi she's only there to watch Nina, not to meddle in their affairs. After they leave, Kaisi returns to Jeremy's book, piecing together the tragic details of his life. Nina enters, her behavior erratic, but she brushes off Kaisi's concern and retreats to her room. Kaisi busies herself in the kitchen, preparing dinner, while Nina listens to music, lost in her own world. That evening, Mika returns, inviting Kaisi to join him for a grocery run. She agrees, but not before reassuring Nina not to think of herself as a monster. While they're gone, a doctor arrives at the house to treat Nina. In the car, Mika's tone shifts, warning Kaisi not to think about escaping as the family won't allow it. Kaisi mentions forgetting something important at the house, but Mika insists they finish shopping first. He casually mentions that a doctor is treating Nina, sparking Kaisi's suspicion. Back at the house, the doctor checks Nina's temperature, which is normal, and inquires about her nightmares. Nina admits they persist, and he instructs her to shower. As she stands before the mirror, her reflection seems to haunt her, a reminder of her inner turmoil. When Kaisi returns, she's alarmed to find Nina gone. She tries calling Mrs. Ward, but the phone goes unanswered, intensifying her worry. Meanwhile, the doctor has taken Nina to a secluded shed, where he attempts to provoke her into revealing her true form, believing it's part of her treatment. Nina resists, tearfully explaining that her parents keep her confined because of her nightmares, but she yearns for freedom. The doctor injects her with a substance, causing her to scream in agony. Back at the house, Kaisi reads Jeremy's diary, learning that he was a vampire killed by his own father, who was also a doctor. The revelation hits her hard, fueling her anger and determination. The next morning, Kaisi spots the doctor leaving, his hand burned, a detail that shocks her. She rushes to Nina, who is bleeding from her head. Nina confesses that the doctor's treatment was brutal and urges Kaisi to leave for her own safety. Kaisi refuses, revealing she knows Nina is a vampire and that her parents have been withholding blood from her. She suggests animal blood might help stabilize Nina's condition. Kaisi tucks Nina into bed, her mind racing with plans to protect her. Downstairs, Mika is waiting, his tone menacing. He accuses Kaisi of getting too close to Nina and threatens her to leave. Kaisi stands her ground, insisting that Nina is normal and deserves better treatment. Enraged, Mika grabs her and throws her to the ground. Nina, hearing the commotion, rushes in and strikes Mika on the head, knocking him unconscious. Seizing the moment, Nina steals his car keys and the two prepare to flee. Kaisi realizes she forgot Jeremy's book and runs back to retrieve it. Mika awakens and attacks her, but Nina intervenes, saving Kaisi. Exposed to sunlight, Nina collapses, unable to withstand it. When Kaisi regains consciousness, she's back in the house. She drinks water to steady herself and reassures Nina through her door that everything will be okay. Nina, feeling like a monster, hesitates, but Kaisi's understanding words convince her to let her in. They plan their escape, determined to find freedom together. The next morning, Mika and Mr. Ward return. Mika restrains Kaisi, while Mr. Ward demands Nina step into the sunlight. To everyone's surprise, Nina is unaffected, thanks to the animal blood Kaisi secretly gave her. Mr. Ward, believing the doctor's treatment is working, calls him back. The doctor tests Nina further, exposing her to sunlight and blood, but she controls herself, convincing him she's cured. In a shocking turn, Mr. Ward shoots Kaisi, believing she's a threat. The doctor, revealed to be Jeremy's father, is stunned to see Kaisi alive as she, too, is a vampire, unable to die. Kaisi had come to the house seeking answers about Jeremy's death, orchestrated by his own father. Nina, enraged, transforms, her eyes turning black. Kaisi saves her by shooting Mr. Ward in the leg, incapacitating him. Nina attacks Mika, biting him and leaving him wounded. Kaisi confronts Jeremy's father, killing him in retribution for her friend's death. As they escape, a car arrives, driven by Kaisi's friend, who reveals they're building a sanctuary for vampires like them. A safe haven where they can live freely. Kaisi and Nina drive off, leaving behind the pain and confinement of the Ward household. The film closes with a poignant reflection on the plight of misunderstood individuals, particularly young vampires whose parents mistake their condition for an illness requiring treatment. Jeremy's father had tried to cure him, leading to his death, and Kaisi, his loyal friend, came to uncover the truth. Upon discovering Nina's similar struggle, Kaisi became her protector, helping her escape to a place where she could embrace her true self. The story is a powerful exploration of identity, acceptance, and the lengths one will go to for those they care about, leaving the audience with a sense of hope amidst the darkness.